anyways, though, and then of course they get the early access as well. Right. Like Patreon is up to like 2-3 weeks ahead of YouTube.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And it basically helps support the channel, and it makes me able to eat and afford these nuts.
Support is nuts.
Wow. She put that out there.
Especially my peanuts. Yeah. Hi. All right. Red Dreaded Entertainment, what is up? My name is Akasan.
Hello, Super Crew. My name is DC Sun.
And I'm Callie with World of Callie.
DC Sun was what? What? No, DC Sun was being subtle because I did my same opening the same way, but this is actually more of a sensitive topic, I suppose. Yes. But I recently, in recent events, I thought it would be good for us to have a open discussion about this particular situation, raw and uncut, and really open this situation up and get the experiences of all three of us also living in Japan, because I think things are a little bit different in Japan, and I thought it was a little notable to bring that up to our audience to let people know about this idea of groping and groping in the industry and the entertainment industry in general, how some of that works. I think it opens up an interesting conversation, because I know we have maybe opinions that view differently than, for example, what people would be thinking about reading these articles right now in America about Hollywood. What we think, me and Dante both being in the entertainment industry, dabbling in it, and then Callie, who you've been in the entertainment industry in America and have had experience the same way. I thought it'd be interesting to get an open dialogue. For those that don't know, recently in the news, Harvey Weinstein, I believe is his name. He's a movie producer or so. You would know more than I would, right?
Yeah.
Like,
so basically, Mr. Weinstein has been, from what I've been told in the past couple of days, because I've actually been off the grid as far as news for a while.
But who is he actually? That's
so. Well, it's not just who is he. What does he do? He does a little bit of everything. But you know, between movie production, producing, housing, sponsoring, he does a little bit of everything throughout Hollywood. So, you know, he, name-wise, over the years, has been a big player in getting things done, getting things made, and getting things seen. Okay.
And he's helped, like, in notable news when it comes to, like, superhero movies and what have you not, he was the one that essentially was responsible for Ben Affleck and Matt Damon's career taking off by greenlighting Good Will Hunting, and that's why Ben Affleck has also been thrown into the news as well for sort of, in a hypocritical response, condoning everything that this guy has been doing for the last 20 to 30 years. He's come up against 3 or 4 rape charges now. Wow. And the sense of, it's from what I've heard, it's from 3 or 4 different accounts from female actresses that were trying to get into the business, and they were basically set up in this sort of unspeakable situation, unwinnable situation of like, okay, if you do this for me, then that's going to give you that sort of favor. It's going to give you some more pull in the industry. You're going to be able to get this role. And once, as far as I know, from what I've been reading, a lot of it was just considered oral rape, like that. I don't know.
Emotional, because I mean, you're traumatizing someone.
Of course,
you're forcing someone to make a decision to do something. Given each person is their own person, but to force someone to do something that they don't want to do, don't have an interest in, and because you're using sex and power as a way to get over on someone, is not right.
Right. But what happened is after that, once these charges started coming up, then we started getting almost about 20 more accounts of other women stepping forward, talking about this guy, saying how he has this history of meeting him in his hotel suite. He'll disappear and come back in a bathrobe, wearing massage, like holding oil and wants a massage or something like that. Or he'll be naked in a bathtub and he's like, oh, you just got to prepare for this role, so I thought it'd be better if we were more comfortable. Like, stuff you wouldn't really, like, you would see in the movies.
That you hear about that happens in the industry from like the 1940s, 50s, 60s, given it continues even to this day. But even the approach it doesn't change. It's
Right.
just wrong.
Right. So, that being said, on that side, well, no. Further on, what this situation has done is it's actually opened up the doors for other actors to come out and speak out about these terms of groping. Terry Crews, big black guy from, I know him mostly from the Expendables, like that. He actually confessed that he understands how these women are feeling. It's like, why didn't they speak up? Why didn't they speak up when it happened? Well, a lot of them did, and they got a call from a producer's agent or something who apologized on behalf of him, and that was it, and they just kept it quiet. But he's also come out and he spoke out about the fact that he was indeed groped at a Hollywood party, lots of important people, and the guy just kind of smiled like a jerk, walked off in front of his wife. He got his crotch grabbed and groped, and then, you know, it kind of left him with some PTSD after that about the whole industry. Then, most notably, Ben Affleck came out and condemned this guy who was his mentor and said he was shocked and appalled, but a lot of people called him out on his bullshit and was like, dude, you've known about this for 10, 20 years. Rose McGowan, who actually won a $100,000 lawsuit against this guy for being some sort of encounter that she can't say exactly what happened, but she won this $100,000 lawsuit, actually called Ben Affleck out on his bullshit and was like, you knew this happened, I actually talked to you about this and you said, God damn it, I told him to stop doing this. And so this is stuff like Ben Affleck was not, and he shouldn't be shocked because he knew what was going on. All that being said, it leads to this industry standard of like groping and kind of utilizing women in a fashion of like, okay, like Dante was saying, if you want to get ahead, this was something that was used like, we thought like 40 years ago. It's amazing that it's still going on. I mean, granted, a lot of these cases were from 20 years ago, 30 years ago, but it's still prevalent today.
Yeah.
Callie, thoughts on that?
Nice segue.
Yeah, like, well, there's another issue I'm going to get into more, but I wanted to get your opinion first and foremost as a female actress. Like, is that something that goes on in the industry when you were doing a lot of modeling or acting?
Yes,
Okay.
like it's. When I heard the news, honestly, it wasn't a big shock to
Right,
me. It's
right.
like, oh, he just got found out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Finally, someone has come forward and said
Yeah.
something, and media pay attention. Okay.
Right.
The shock.
The shock.
The shock's getting to me.
No.
But you knew about no.
Well, no, she's right. I mean, she's right about that situation. It's like
It happens so often that unfortunately it becomes commonplace, and it's like, oh well, someone's done something. Well,
Yeah.
not really surprising.
Right.
And it's only surprising that, oh, someone has come forward and said something,
Yeah.
and someone's paying attention.
Yeah.
Not so much that someone has
Yeah.
come forward, but that someone's paying attention and making it news so people pay attention.
exactly.
To the topic.
I think it's like timing is everything, and it's very similar to the whole Colin Kirkpatrick situation of taking the knee. It's like he's been doing this for a while. He was he was taking the knee during Obama's administration, and Obama spoke on it. It's just the fact that Obama spoke on it, but didn't make it seem.
Blow it up.
Yeah.
He didn't blow it up, and he didn't misdirect it in a sense to get people angry about it for the wrong reasons. And I think that's what's going on now, is the fact that it's just timing is everything. This has been going on for such a while, but now it's become such a big deal that now it's an avalanche of things going on. Actually, I read that some women were trying to go forward about this situation early on, maybe 10 years ago, and Russell Crowe and I think Matt Damon actually had it stopped. They put a gag order on the news on the report like that. That's what I was saying. Was no.
I guess because they had projects coming out, and if that happened, it killed the projects.
This is actually time. This is time. Now the thing I remember is just a few days ago, Andy, the dude Andy from Screen Junkies.
Yes, Signori.
So he got fired from Screen Junkies for sexually harassing women, sexually harassing the girlfriends of his co-workers actually trying to stick sex toys inside of him.
Oh my gosh.
Not cool.
That's
And if he made it out of the building without getting pummeled by anyone, he is lucky.
That's what's crazy.
That's just That's disrespectful to your coworkers.
Yeah.
On the
co-host
and on the female side, and then it's disrespectful to your co-host.
Right.
It's unprofessional. It's not needed. And for whatever reason, if that was going on for more than a day, then it's sad because that means he's getting over on these people for as long as it took before he got called out on.
So but I think at the same time, and this is where the Japanese situation comes up here, is that, and it reminded me about something we had a discussion about last week, is this idea of, because I was looking at some of what Andy was saying to some of these women, and I mean, it's bad what he was doing at work, sexually harassing women. Right. But some of these DMs I was actually watching, reading, a lot of them just kind of read off like a horny dude just trying to get laid, basically.
He didn't have a girlfriend.
He did have a girlfriend. No, see, I didn't know that. Okay, but even regardless,
even if he has one,
I know.
Really, dude?
Yeah.
But here's the thing: reading some of those DMs, I was like, okay, it looks like he's actually just trying to hook up some of his homies or something. Like he would invite women to the audience to be in the fan section, and then he's like, well, you know, if my guy has the nuts, he'll probably ask you out. And he's like, how old are you, like that? And yeah, it sounds bad because he's the producer of that show. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm like, you know, he is a dude trying to, like,
he's trying to hook his friends.
Right. So it's kind of like, it's kind of hard because I think we're in this weird, not weird, but we're in this changing situation where the norm isn't to be like that for women anymore, to treat women like that anymore. Yeah, but then, at the same time, how do some people, like, I don't know, hook up with women, I suppose.
Be a gentleman?
Okay,
like
no, please, well, tell me more. I mean, that's the thing, because here, like, you know, you've only been here in Japan for about, what, a year now. He and I have been here for a while. Some of that, what they do, is kind of normal in Japan, to, like, to flirt with a woman, basically.
Yeah. So, to help...
Right, what he's saying is, like,
so here you have situations where, whether it's in entertainment or not, you'll have like a 5-on-5 date party. No,
the go party. Yes.
And you know, it's very common for someone, especially if they're older or a little older than the female that's been invited, to make somewhat off-color jokes because that's their way of breaking the ice.
Right, exactly.
But also, it's their way of seeing what her comfort zone in conversation is. It's not the smartest thing to do, especially from the Western side, because we don't do that openly. But when it happens here, the female is either immediately offended, or they're like, "Oh, all right, well, he's got more cojones to talk to me this way than most guys who are too shy to say anything. So, all right, I'll talk to him." And that's actually what they do to gauge, okay, what's her comfort zone, and the conversation can get really personal or impersonal, like, you know, when was your first time, or, you know, how do you like this, or what's your favorite position, da da da. All these things do come up in conversation. It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable for someone that's sitting there who doesn't care, and then you're sitting there, it's like, okay, I don't think I should be here for this. Right. Because from someone who's not used to that culturally, it throws us off. And then you learn that, oh, well, this is actually acceptable here. Not that it's good, but it's acceptable. So that tends to happen quite often, until you get someone that says, hey, actually, I'm not comfortable with that. Right. So stop.
Right.
And then you move on. And then, oh, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. It was just da-da-da. And it happens. Often.
Because, so this is the thing,
it's a cultural thing.
Because, not even, now that I really think about it, it's not even in Japan. I was thinking about some of the people that I've co-hosted with on my own channel, and some of the stuff that I've even said, and I was like, damn, you know, if enough people got together one day, they could make an entire spread of bad press about me, and all anybody has to... So, you see what I'm saying? All anybody has to do is go on YouTube and just take...
bits and pieces
of my clips, and just
good
take
editing,
the
they can make you look horrible.
Right, and just take the worst thumbnail of me like that, like, YouTuber this foul language, something like that. And I think that's kind of interesting because, like, for example, a good example is someone I met right off the bat, Anita Starr. And we did a few videos together, and she was saying sexual comments, and I was making sexual jokes, and we all had a fun time. It seemed everything was fine. You know, like, I said something about, like, oh, this isn't, oh, that's not mine to touch, or something like that. And then she was like, it can be. She said it under her breath, like that. She does it all. I don't know how much of that is realistic, or I don't know how much of that is for the camera, but how does one man know what's, you know, like, because here's the thing I was reading the most about a lot of these women is the fact that they were afraid because they were in a position of no power, and so they had to laugh it off
politely.
They had to laugh it off to force themselves, to keep themselves from crying. And this is something I hear a lot. But I'm like, isn't that sending the wrong signal then to the guy anyways, who thinks it's acceptable and grows up throughout the years continuing to do that because every woman laughs it off, apparently. So wait, this is the one I want to know about.
I'll let Kelly answer that, and then I have a rebuttal for that.
Okay, so then, like,
do you see what I mean, though, about that?
Yes,
isn't that sending mixed signals?
It's encouraging this negative behavior by not saying anything. But, like, usually the person who is doing the sexual harassment, they're in a position of power. You don't have people who are lower than you doing that to you, and if they do, you are actually in the position of being a friend or being in a higher power, and you can shut them down. And in that case, you know, but then, like, for somebody who's not in a position of power, if they say something, you know what, when I was watching Wonder Woman and just seeing like Wonder Woman's just, you know, like, her courage to, like, say anything in front of anyone. Like, I think a lot of reason why women love watching that movie is part of us want to have that, like, power. We don't care who's telling us or who's doing anything to us. We want to be able to speak our minds freely. But a lot of times, you know, in this culture, we are still growing up in a world where men are dominant. There is that perceived.
But I would say that whole speaking out situation is pushing that is a form of sexism versus what I'm talking about is a man basically trying to compliment a woman but saying foul things or flirting with them. But like he was saying earlier, flirting in a sexual tone to test the waters. What constitutes as being playful versus sexual harassment? I know the whole sexism thing is that's an obvious one, especially like Wonder Woman, like, why is a woman in here? Yeah, that's sexism, and that shouldn't be tolerated at all. But what line, there's this gray matter, I think, that confuses a lot of men sometimes as to how can I get her attention without getting a sexual harassment claim later.
Well, I would have to ask the guys, like, why do you have to go towards a sexual route? Why can't we just have a conversation and speak normally? Like, do you have to push our buttons by going in that route?
That's a good point.
Okay.
And to answer your question earlier, I do think that part of it is when a woman is in that situation and they're laughing it off, even though they want to cry. They're looking at it as, I don't want that person to see me as being weak.
Yes, I agree.
And I understand it because I've talked to people like my mom and other family members where they've been in a situation dealing with their boss. And it's like they don't want their boss to see them as being less than how they already view them, and then they deal with it a different way. And of course they do what needs to be done, but it does come back at the boss later on down the line. But it took time. But for that type of situation, it's like, I don't want to be seen as being weak, unintelligent, or less than. So I'll bite the bullet. I'll deal with this conversation now, and I'll come back to it in a different way, in a more intelligent way, because it's better for me to do that at this time. And I think that tends to be a situation that happens so often that in some cases they end up being, well, actually, I'll just let it go. I'll be the bigger person and not deal with it. And then nothing is said for a long period of time. It is hard to not say something when something happens, obviously, because you're traumatized.
Right.
But I do think that one of the best ways to stop it from happening so often is to say something immediately, because then other people will come forward. Because people don't speak up and say anything when something traumatizing happens because they're scared. There's loss. Say something immediately, because it will help other people around you understand that, hey, look, we need to stand up for ourselves, and this, what they're doing and saying, isn't right, and it needs to stop. And because I have people that are close to me, if something happens to them, I don't want them to hold that in. I want them to get it out and make that person stop. And it keeps me from hunting that person down.
Interesting. So, Kelly, if you're working with somebody and you're interested in them, if they're interested with you, what's the best way for someone to approach you? Like, if they want to express that they show interest in you, but they don't want to get hit with sexual harassment clause down the line or something.
Well,
until after work.
I'm asking for a friend.
I think just be normal, like pay attention to the woman, compliment her, and just be, I don't know, I feel like honesty always works for my friends and me. Like if somebody's like, hey, can I take you out for da-da-da, are you free? Like,
it's easier for someone to take the more gentlemanly approach than asking you, hey, you know, if you have time, do you want to get some coffee or get dinner together, something like that, as opposed to, hey, I think you're really attractive, really love to hook up. You know, you see what I mean?
Yeah.
It sounds, honestly, that sounds really like someone with no game as well. Like because there's a part of playing the game where you do need to throw in some of those like suggestive, advances. Like, hey, you know, I'd like to ask you out for some dinner, and then possibly, you know, and then you know, maybe you can leave at breakfast, like that. And you know, there's a difference between being smooth and then it's kind of like, oh, sexual harassment.
Well, I guess like, okay, so like, because somebody made a comment about Netflix and chilling with me.
Right.
Like, it's, yeah. So then, but then,
That's
first of all,
I'm more of a Crunchyroll and commit, but yeah.
First of all, I wasn't even interested in the guy. So when he made that comment, I was just like, oh no, that's just disgusting coming from you. But I guess if I was originally interested in the guy, then I would be like, you know what? You know, he's funny. But you know.
So his selection of Netflix was not good.
He couldn't even get to the movie part of it.
Damn.
Yikes. Just like no previews.
I don't know. I just
right?
I don't know. I just sometimes maybe I give too much credit to humanity. Like, kind of go at your own pace, respect the person, and
no, you're not giving more than what should be there anyway. I mean, people should be respectful of each other,
period,
regardless. You know, if you're going to hit on a woman, you know, do it respectfully. Of course, everyone has a different approach. Like, you have guys that'll say something crass and outlandish to get your attention. You'll get angry, and it's like, okay, now you're focusing on me, and now I just talk to you like a normal person. I actually know guys that pick up people like that over the years, and it's like, why do you do this? Because she'll never forget me. And then later, they go back and talk to her. It's like, you were a real asshole. It's like, yeah, I just wanted to get your attention. And da-da-da, and everything's fine.
And then a lot of us know, like, or we have been taught that nice girls like the assholes, basically. Yeah. Girls go for the bad guys because they see it as a...
Nice guys finish last.
Well, not just that, but like women see it as a challenge, basically. Like, I'm going to tame this wild beast. I mean, you know, one of my...
you joke, and one of my... wrong?
No, but one of my...
She laughs.
Right? Because I hit the...
Because it happens. It's true. It happens all the time.
In one of my previous relationships, like, the first thing I said is this girl, I was like, the first night I met her, I was just like, you know, I was drunk and like really wasted, but I straight said in the taxi, I was like, I want to fuck you. Like that. But... So
now we're moving into the territory of hooking up, because that's totally different then. Then it's just like, you know, people...
Is it different?
Is it?
No, the reason we say is it different because, you know, from the woman's point of view, she may have absolutely no interest whatsoever, but she's just entertaining that person to be nice.
And how do you read the air like that?
How do you read, it's okay to go past that line, and maybe it's not. So when is it appropriate for someone to, and the reason I say someone because it goes in reverse also.
Right.
For someone to say, okay, now's that time to kind of ramp it up and say something a little, you know, kinky or, you know, whatever, spice it up kind of thing.
Well, I think it just all depends on a relationship. What is your relationship with that person?
Right.
And, you know,
I'm talking like first time you meet this person.
The
like
very first time,
right.
like
yeah,
you're
I can't answer
at
that
work. You're at work, and that's sexual harassment. I don't know you.
Okay.
I have no clue who you are. You have no clue who I am.
Okay.
Why would you say something like that?
Okay. I suppose there is a
time and place.
Yeah, time and place, and I think that's also one of the things that is somewhat getting lost in the conversation that I also kind of realized while we were talking is that there is a situation, there's a workplace situation, and there's like the entertainment industry. Yeah. I think a lot of actors tend to forget, though, even though it's kind of like a hobby, but it's also it's still a job type of deal, and I guess with a lot of these guys, this Andy guys, this Harvey guys, like that, you know, they have they should have this responsibility to be better than that, and to not, like you said, they're abusing their powers to, and I think for a lot of men in that particular situation have to realize more of like, this can hit back and reflect upon them badly, and or they have to be careful about not utilizing that sort of power, or like being aware of like, if women are laughing, that doesn't mean they're cool with it type of deal. Like it goes into this Donald Trump quote from years ago where he's like, man, in Hollywood, you know, when you're rich, you can just do anything. I could just grab her by the pussy like that. But it's funny because I know he got in a lot of shit because of that, but I wasn't too far surprised when he said it. I'm like, rich people do think like that. Because they really can.
If I have to, I just pay my way
because rich people can get away with that kind of stuff. Celebrities can kind of get away with that stuff. So I guess that's essentially the big situation. Is I don't know if men's mentality would change, but I think for celebrity people and rich people, if they don't want to catch a bad rap case like that, it's better for them not to ever put themselves in that position, I suppose. Yeah, I suppose. Interesting. All right. Callie, any final comments on anything?
Well, I guess like I would also like, you know, just wanting to know the psychology of why that person would continually want to do that to women, you know.
Wear them down.
Because wear them down.
Right,
position of power. Look at, oh, well, this one was a challenge. Well, how can I up the ante? Well, her personality is stronger. I'm going to tame her. I'm going to do what I can to get what I want. I mean, it's just and
it's not even that. It's just the idea of like in Hollywood or just being just to be able to say, you know, man, see how I got head from Angelina Jolie before she was famous or whatever like that. To be able to have all those notches on your belt, basically, famous notches. That's something interesting to say. Like there's, you know, people I know in this industry that have done things with people I see on TV. I'm just like, damn, you really hit that? And like, yep. But she's a screamer like that, you know. But it's all kept under wraps. But as time goes by, I'm like, damn, one day this might actually like blow up in that person's face or whatever. So, but that basically, to answer your question, yeah, that's why men do it like that.
It's interesting.
And like women do it too.
Yeah, you just don't hear about it really.
Right.
Yeah, because they're smarter, I guess, about how they approach it, or about how they communicate with their peers. Because guys, they're so crass and so rude about of course someone's gonna be upset of how you're treating them, because you're already using your physical presence against that person, and then you're using monetary gain, position, status. Yeah, it's not gonna be cool.
That's true. Yeah, there are a few of my friends who are male actors that have been propositioned by female directors to do in particular films or whatever. There's been people in the industry.
You're yes.
No, but
that's because I feel you.
No, but there's been females that have been in the industry of the entertainment situation that they've never propositioned me, but they've expressed interest in me, and it's to the point where I also think to myself, even I'm like, well, you know, if I have this relationship or whatever, that would help my channel further along the situation. So I don't they're trying to read my mind to see if they know exactly who I'm talking about, but they probably did. Yeah, they have a few guesses, but I never. It's not her. Don't worry, I would never refuse Callie.
Aw, thanks.
You're welcome. I'll let you sexually harass me anytime.
And it's
Couldn't
all on
see
camera.
that coming. Yeah.
Anyways, okay. So advice. What can we say?
Advice.
Be respectful of your peers and those around you. Easy.
But see, and that's the other thing. Okay, but that also goes into what I was just saying. Is like, even I thought about like, okay, well, you know, if I have sex with her or whatever, this would be really good for my channel like that. Or, you know, it's kind of like, it is I think in the industry that is particularly a norm, because we also see celebrity couples, and the only reason celebrities are couples half the time is to promote their new movie or to, you know, that it gets them ahead. The entire reason Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt got together anyways is because they had an affair behind Jennifer Aniston's back, you know, and then they got married, and then you know. But
that was just timing of their relationship and how they dealt with it, as opposed to sexual harassment. Given it's not a happy thing between those three parties or those four people. It's just what happened in the relationship. But as far as sexual harassment goes, you should be respectful of your peers. You should find a time and place to approach someone and say, hey, look, you know, I'm kind of interested. I'd like to talk to you about it, but, you know, this isn't the place. You want to go and get something somewhere else another time. There's a better way of approaching it. And if you're in one of those situations where a celebrity hits on you, like, okay, all jokes aside, somewhat making light of it, but not. If Amelia Clark came in and she's like, hey, Dante, I want to take you to dinner, I'm going to say, I really appreciate it. Let me finish this video and we can go ahead and get something to eat. Because I think she's a wonderful person. Meeting her in person and talking to her, you get a different vibe. Everybody has an energy about her or about him. So it's just how people approach you, and then you just read it. Okay, this is the time to have that kind of conversation. This is... So, sorry.
Reading the air.
If Gal Gadot came up to me and was like...
Yes, just say yes.
Yes. See, you guys are like, what about your husband? She's like, what? Like that?
She's like, I just want to, you know, beat the crap out of you and give you an autograph. Dozo. Go ahead, go for it. Go for it, bro.
I'd be like, can I get advance tickets to Justice League? It all depends. What are you, Gal Gadot, going to do for Akasan?
Yeah, I wouldn't be asking for advance tickets. I'd be like, so the screening is tomorrow. Advance tickets means I have to wait. I don't want to wait to see Justice League. See that now.
If the screening's tomorrow, we have plenty of time tonight. Like.
But you bring up something interesting too, like her actually coming to you.
Right.
Like, what if, you know, we just let the woman
approach the
man?
I love that.
That'd be fun.
I would like with a strong woman being like, hey, look, and I say strong woman meaning she approaches first as opposed to a guy approaching. Not that women are weaker than men, just to make that clear.
I have no problem with Gal Gadot coming out in a bathrobe and lotion asking for a massage or grabbing my genitals. No problem. I'd be like, yeah. No, but you know, actually, now that I think about it, it reminds me of a student who was sexually harassing me a few months ago. And I talked to the staff.
What was he like?
No, it was a woman. Oh. This dude. But... and I actually complained to the staff about it. I brought it up to the staff, and everybody just laughed it off. Like, they were just like, oh, and everybody just laughed. I'm like, wait, but this is sexual harassment, and then that was it.
They were probably laughing. I was like, oh, well, she finally got to that teacher. She's already done that.
Or something like that. But it was just really weird. Like she really was like touching me, and she was groping me like during the whole lesson, and I had to keep on like flinching it off like that. And like I was like, okay, why don't you like? So she had her hand like, and she would do the whole laughing like, like that, and just would hold on, and would just like hold on, and then I'm just like, hey, why don't? So I'm like that, and I'm like, why don't you give me a full sentence like that?
Yeah.
And then afterwards, so I complained to staff about it, and I'm like, yo, there's a, like, and I was like, man, I kind of, like, I wonder if she's ever going to come again. She never showed up after that, but
they may have said something to her.
Nah, they didn't.
They could have.
But yeah, by phone or by mail, yeah.
Nah,
because they wouldn't tell her directly at the time. Remember, you're in Japan.
Yes.
Something that happens here when you have a confrontation, very rarely does someone come directly to you and say something. They contact you later and then tell you.
That I know.
That happens all the
I
time.
highly doubt it, but that's interesting though. But yeah, because she actually did come back to another teacher, another black guy too. So I just kind of warned him, but like nothing ever happened. I don't know. So it's just interesting. So
He didn't have the hair.
all right, that's it, guys. Red Dreaded Entertainment, Red Dreaded Nation, stand up, speak up. Let us know what you think about all of this going on in the industry right here. And remember, if you ever read anything bad about me, it's probably half true. Just don't believe the scandals. Don't believe anything you read.
So true.
Because that's exactly, we were talking about that with Supergirl, like last night.
Yeah.
Like there was this like sexist kind of rich guy, and he was like, people will believe anything they read like that.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, well, that's
Which is
kind of true.
unfortunately true, because you have, but like this, there's a saying where you have his side, her side, and the truth is somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, and it's a horrible way of putting things, but more times than not, that's true. And it's like parts of it is true, parts of it's not, but where you make that decision is up to you. Reading things, take it for what it's worth. You decide if you believe it or not, but don't always expect everything that you read to be scripture, because it's not going to be true. And if you don't know the person, is it right for you to judge them and say, oh, well, you're this, you're that, because you weren't there. You don't know.
Do your research.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're out.
Keep it
Wait, can we do C?
Keep it somber.
Yeah.
Somber.
This is real somber.